All right, so get this. SpaceX's Starship Flight 8. Well, it ended with a bang.
It did.
You want all the inside scoop on what went down and why it even matters.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe even learn some seriously cool trivia.
Absolutely.
Well, you've come to the right place.
You have.
This is a story about a mega rocket, a fiery explosion, and some fallout you just won't believe.
It's amazing. One of the things that's just so fascinating about this whole thing is the sheer scale of this thing.
Yeah.
We're talking about Starship, and Starship is a spacecraft that's actually designed to eventually carry humans to Mars.
Wow.
Just imagine something that is taller than the Statue of Liberty.
Really?
Blasting off, and this is designed to travel across the solar system.
That's insane.
It is.
I remember I was reading that you love anything massive.
I do love scale.
So Starship launched from Starbase in Texas.
Correct.
And this was an uncrewed test flight, right?
That's right.
Their 8th one?
Yes, their 8th one.
So they're really putting this thing through its paces before they even think about putting people on board.
Yeah, I mean, SpaceX is really all about rapid testing and development.
Right.
They're not afraid of things going wrong because each test, whether it's successful or not, gives them valuable data.
I see. So it's all part of the plan.
It is.
Okay, so get this. Starship is seconds away from finishing its planned ascent burn.
Okay.
Almost reaching the edge of space.
Almost there.
And boom, a midair explosion, and you could see it all the way from Florida.
Yeah, massive, massive fireball.
Wow.
And this wasn't the first time a Starship test has ended this way. Flight 7 back in January, that also exploded, scattering debris over populated islands.
Oh, wow.
This time, though, the fallout was even bigger.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean bigger fallout? Was there more damage this time?
In a way, yes.
So what happened?
This time, the FAA had to actually halt flights in and out of major Florida airports because of the risk of falling space debris.
Whoa, seriously.
It was unprecedented.
So Miami, Fort Lauderdale, those huge airports.
Yes.
You're telling me they had to stop flights because of a private space company's rocket exploding?
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
That's wild.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. You're at Miami International about to, jet off to your well-deserved vacation.
Right.
And they announce, sorry, folks, but we've got exploding spaceships to worry about.
Yeah.
Your flight is delayed.
That's insane.
It really brings home how commercial space activities are increasingly affecting our everyday lives.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's rewind for a second.
Okay.
Let's break down what actually happened during this flight.
Right.
So we know one of the engines failed, but what does loss of attitude control actually mean?
Right.
I know you can explain this in a way that even I can understand.
I think I can.
So what does it mean?
So think of a spinning top.
Okay.
As long as it's spinning fast enough, it stays perfectly upright.
Right.
But as it slows down, it starts to wobble and eventually tips over.
Yeah.
That's essentially what happened to Starship. It lost its stability.
I see.
It started spinning uncontrollably.
Wow.
And in spaceflight, attitude control is absolutely crucial.
How come?
Well, it's how you steer the ship, how
Yeah.
you make course corrections, and how you stay on target.
Right.
Without it, things tend to go, well, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like losing your steering wheel while you're driving a car.
exactly.
You're just along for the ride at that point.
You are along for the ride.
And you mentioned that this loss of control happened around the same point in the flight as Flight 7.
That's right.
2 explosions, same point in the flight. That can't be a coincidence, right?
It can't be a coincidence.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty big red flag.
It is.
So they're definitely going to be looking into that.
Absolutely. This is going to be a key part of their SpaceX's investigation as well as the FAA's inquiry.
Oh, right. Yeah, because the FAA is looking into this as well, right? They grounded flights. So clearly they're not messing around here.
No, they're taking this very seriously.
But what exactly is the FAA looking into?
Yeah.
What's their role in all this?
So the FAA has a huge responsibility when it comes to commercial space launches.
Okay.
They license the launches, oversee the safety protocols, and they require mishap investigations like the one that's happening now.
Okay.
Their job is to determine the cause of the explosion, if any regulations were violated, and most importantly, how to prevent similar events from happening in the future.
So they're like the space police,
Oh,
making
yeah.
sure everyone plays by the rules.
In a way, yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's still so much we don't know about this whole thing, right? Where exactly did Starship explode?
Yeah, right.
How much debris fell back to Earth? And where did it land?
Yeah.
In the ocean.
Yeah, these are all the million-dollar questions that the investigators are trying to answer.
Right.
We know SpaceX has this designated debris response area, but they haven't disclosed its exact location or size.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where it gets even crazier. So you remember Flight 7 exploding near those populated islands in Turks and Caicos?
Yes.
They're still finding debris from that explosion.
That's right.
So now we've got potentially even more debris raining down. Who knows where?
Right.
What does that mean for these islands?
Right.
Like, what happens if a chunk of Starship lands in someone's backyard?
That's a great question, and I think it raises a lot of questions about the long-term consequences.
Yeah.
Aside from the immediate safety concerns,
Right.
there's the potential for environmental damage, tourism taking a hit,
Wow.
and just a general feeling of uneasiness for the people living there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It also makes you wonder who's responsible for cleaning up the debris.
Right.
And who foots the bill, right?
Exactly.
Is it SpaceX? The government?
Yeah.
Or do the islanders just have to live with rocket parts in their backyards?
I mean, it's a tricky situation, and there's a lot of debate about who's ultimately responsible for space debris and its consequences.
Yeah, and, SpaceX has this whole rapid, iterative development philosophy, right? Like
yes.
launch, explode, learn, repeat.
That's right.
But with these explosions happening over populated areas, is this fail-fast approach really sustainable?
I mean, that's the debate raging right now.
Yeah.
SpaceX has made incredible progress using this method,
Right.
but the stakes are getting higher.
Yeah.
When you're sending rockets over the ocean and things go wrong, well, the consequences can be pretty significant.
Yeah, it seems like this incident with Flight 8 might be a turning point.
Maybe.
People are starting to question if the risks outweigh the rewards.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, this whole situation is just fascinating. On the one hand, you have this incredible spacecraft designed to take us to Mars.
Right.
But on the other hand, you have these dramatic explosions
Yes.
and concerns about safety and environmental impact.
Absolutely.
It's a tricky balance.
It is a tricky balance.
It really highlights, I think, the complexities of space exploration in the 21st century.
It does.
As commercial spaceflight becomes more common, I think we need to have some serious conversations about responsible innovation, acceptable risk, and how to make sure space exploration benefits humanity
Right.
without jeopardizing our planet.
I agree.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the explosion, the debris, the FAA's response, and some of the bigger questions this incident raises.
Yeah.
But we're not done yet. There's still a lot to unpack, like what SpaceX plans to do next,
Absolutely.
and what this all means for the future of commercial space travel.
Exactly.
So stay with us as we dive deeper into the aftermath of Starship Flight 8
Yes.
and explore the potential consequences of this dramatic event.
We'll be right back. And we're back, ready to really dig deeper into the Starship Flight 8 explosion
Yeah.
and what it all means for the future of space travel.
Amidst all the chaos of this explosion,
Right.
there was one bright spot.
What was that?
SpaceX catching that super heavy booster
Oh, yeah.
with those giant robotic arms they call chopsticks.
No, it's amazing.
It's their third successful catch of a super heavy booster, right?
Yes, their third one, which is a key part of their plan for making space travel more affordable and sustainable.
Yeah.
Reusing rockets instead of building new ones every time is a total game changer.
I mean, it's just mind-blowing to think about the technology involved in catching a giant rocket booster like that.
It is.
But it also makes the Starship explosion even more puzzling.
Right.
They seem to have mastered the booster recovery,
Right.
but the spacecraft itself is still a major challenge.
Yeah, I think it highlights the different stages of development. The
Yeah.
Super Heavy booster is designed for multiple uses.
Okay.
So they've had more chances to, kind of refine its performance.
Makes sense.
Starship, on the other hand, is still in its early test phases.
Right. So let's talk more about SpaceX's rapid iterative development approach.
Sure.
This launch, explode, learn, repeat cycle they're famous for.
Yes.
Do you think it's working?
Mm.
Or are these explosions a sign that they're pushing too hard too fast?
That's the big debate right now.
It is.
This approach has definitely allowed them to make incredible breakthroughs in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to experiment and learn from their mistakes, even if it means things go boom.
And let's be honest, things go boom pretty often with SpaceX.
They do.
But is that willingness to fail, is
Yeah.
that really key to their learning process?
I think so, yeah.
Each explosion, however dramatic,
Right.
provides valuable data they can use to improve the next version of Starship.
That's their thinking.
But isn't there a point where the risks start to outweigh the benefits?
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about debris potentially falling near populated areas?
Wow.
Like, remember what happened in Turks and Caicos after Flight 7?
Of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, when SpaceX was blowing up prototypes at their launch site, it was one thing. But sending these massive vehicles over the ocean, over people's homes,
Yeah.
it's a different ballgame.
It is.
I mean, just imagine, you're having a barbecue in your backyard,
Right.
and suddenly a piece of rocket debris comes crashing down right next to your grill.
Not good.
That's not exactly the kind of excitement people are looking for.
Not at all. So the question becomes, how do we balance the need to innovate and push boundaries
Right.
with the responsibility to protect public safety?
Yeah.
It's a really complex issue that I think is getting a lot of attention right now.
Yeah, and I think the FAA, as like the space police,
Right.
they're going to have to step in and set some clearer guidelines.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Especially considering like the potential environmental damage we talked about.
Exactly. The FAA is definitely under pressure to create stricter regulations for commercial space activities. I mean, their primary responsibility is public safety. And with the increasing number of launches and, the potential hazards that are involved, they can't afford to be lax about it.
One thing that really struck me about SpaceX response to this whole explosion was their focus on the data they collected.
Mm-hmm.
It almost felt like they were downplaying the seriousness of what happened.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance they have to strike.
Right.
They want to acknowledge the incident and reassure the public that they're taking safety seriously.
Uh-huh.
But they also don't want to appear overly apologetic or deter investors.
Right.
They've built this reputation on being bold and innovative.
Yeah.
And admitting to serious setbacks could really damage that image.
It almost reminds me of that old saying.
What's that?
It's not a failure, it's a learning experience.
Right.
But when you're dealing with rockets exploding over people's heads, it's hard to just shrug it off as a learning experience.
I agree, and I think it raises the question of whether their rapid iterative development philosophy is sustainable in the long run. As space travel becomes more mainstream, will they have to adopt a more cautious approach? Can they keep blowing things up when the stakes are so high?
Yeah, I think that's a really key question for the future of commercial space travel.
It is.
It's not just about technological innovation anymore.
Right.
It's about managing risk, ensuring safety, and protecting our planet.
Absolutely. And it's not just about SpaceX either.
Right.
This incident has really sparked a wider conversation about the future of commercial space travel in general.
Yeah.
It's no longer a futuristic fantasy. It's happening now.
It is.
And it's impacting our lives in ways we're only beginning to understand.
It makes you realize that space exploration isn't just about rockets and astronauts anymore.
It's not.
It's about the future of our planet,
Right.
our society, and our place in the cosmos.
You hit the nail on the head.
Wow.
I think these incidents, like the one we're talking about today, force us to ask ourselves some tough questions.
Like what?
What are the limits of acceptable risk?
Yeah.
Who benefits from space exploration?
And who bears the costs?
Right.
How do we make sure this incredible human endeavor unfolds in a way that's both ambitious and responsible?
I think those are really important questions.
They are. And they're not going to be easy to answer.
They're not, no,
Yeah.
but they're questions we need to grapple with.
We do.
Because the decisions we make today will shape the future of space exploration for generations to come.
For generations.
And those decisions will affect everyone, not just the people working in the space industry.
Exactly. Remember those people in Turks and Caicos still finding debris from Flight 7?
Right.
I mean, they're on the front lines of this new space age, whether they like it or not.
And as space exploration becomes more common, with more private companies getting involved, the impact will be felt by people all over the world.
It will.
I think this conversation is so important.
I do too.
We need to talk about the potential benefits and the risks of this rapidly evolving industry
Yes.
and make sure we're all on the same page.
Okay, so I think we've explored the immediate aftermath of the Starship Flight 8 explosion.
Yeah.
And we started to delve into the bigger picture.
Right.
But there's still so much to discuss.
There is.
Like the specific regulations and safeguards that might be needed to ensure the safety and sustainability of commercial space exploration.
I agree. And we also need to consider the international implications.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, space debris doesn't respect national borders, so who's responsible when things go wrong? Who cleans up the mess?
Right.
These are all questions we need to address as we move forward.
It's mind-boggling to think that just a few years ago, we were amazed by SpaceX landing rockets on barges.
I know.
Now we're talking about the potential hazards of space debris falling on people's homes.
Right.
And the need for international treaties to manage the risks of commercial space travel.
It's amazing how things have changed.
It is.
It's a testament to how quickly this industry is evolving.
It really is.
And how important it is for all of us to stay informed and engaged in these conversations.
Yeah.
The decisions we make today will shape the future of space exploration for generations to come.
Okay, so what does all of this mean for you, the listener?
Right.
Like, why should you even care about a rocket exploding halfway across the country?
Well, because it's not just about a single rocket or a single company.
Right.
It's about the future of our planet, our society, and our place in the universe.
Yeah.
These incidents are a wake-up call.
They are.
Reminding us that space exploration, while incredibly inspiring,
Yes.
also comes with real risks and responsibilities.
We've talked about these incidents as like a potential turning point.
We have.
So what do you think needs to happen next?
Well,
What's the most important takeaway for our listener?
I think we need to start asking ourselves some really tough questions. Like, what are the limits of acceptable risk? Who benefits from space exploration and who bears the costs? How do we ensure that this incredible human endeavor unfolds in a way that is both ambitious and responsible?
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
I think those are perfect questions for our listener to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive into the Starship Flight 8 explosion.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating journey exploring the technical, ethical, and global implications of this event.
It has.
And hopefully it sparked your curiosity to learn more about the complexities of space exploration in the 21st century.
I hope so.
Yeah,
We've covered a lot of ground today,
we have.
and it's clear that the conversation about commercial space travel is just beginning.
It is.
As this industry continues to grow and evolve,
Right.
we need to stay informed, engaged, and ready to ask those tough questions.
Absolutely, because the future of space exploration,
Yeah.
and perhaps even the future of humanity itself,
Wow.
depends on the choices that we make today.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Starship Flight 8 explosion.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep looking up, keep asking questions,
Yeah.
and keep exploring the wonders of the universe.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the Starship Flight 8 explosion.
We are.
And we've covered a lot of ground so far.
We have.
From the technical details of the incident
Right.
to some bigger questions about safety and regulation.
Yeah.
And the future of commercial space travel in general.
Absolutely. And I think now it's time to really look ahead and consider, the long-term implications of all of this. I think one thing that's become clear is that this isn't just a SpaceX issue.
Right.
This is a turning point for the entire commercial space industry.
Yeah, it really feels like we're entering this new era where,
Yeah,
the stuff of science fiction is becoming reality.
it is.
And that's both exciting and kind of,
A little daunting.
daunting. Yeah. We've talked about the potential benefits of space exploration, but what about the risks?
Right.
Where do we draw the line?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
There's a lot of debate right now about how to balance the ambition of, reaching for the stars with the responsibility of protecting our planet and its people.
Yeah.
And I think the Starship Flight 8 explosion has really brought those tensions to the forefront.
It really has. And, I was reading some comments online, and there's this sentiment that, hey, it's rocket science, of course things explode.
Right, yeah.
But is that really an acceptable attitude when you're talking about debris potentially raining down on populated areas?
Yeah, I think that's a key part of the debate.
Yeah.
Some argue that progress always comes with risks,
Mhm.
and that stifling innovation with excessive regulations would be a mistake.
Right.
They believe we need to accept a certain level of risk if we want to, really push the boundaries of what's possible.
But on the other side, you have people saying, hold on, we can't just let companies launch rockets willy-nilly and
Yeah.
hope for the best,
Right.
especially when those rockets are flying over our heads.
Exactly. And those concerns are valid,
Yeah.
especially given what happened with Flight 7
Right.
and the debris that's still being found in Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, so it's how do we find that right balance
Right.
between, encouraging innovation,
Yeah.
but also ensuring public safety?
It's tough.
It is tough, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the FAA is going to have to play a major role in setting those boundaries.
Absolutely. The FAA and other regulatory bodies around the world,
Right.
they're going to be under increasing pressure to establish very clear guidelines for commercial space activities.
Okay.
And that includes everything from debris mitigation and launch safety protocols to like environmental impact assessments
Wow.
and liability in case of accidents.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning earlier that space debris doesn't respect national borders.
It doesn't.
So what happens if a rocket explodes over international waters?
Right.
Who's responsible for the cleanup?
That's a great question. And honestly, the legal framework surrounding all of these issues is still evolving.
Wow.
I mean, we're really in uncharted territory here.
Yeah,
And as space travel becomes more commonplace, I think international cooperation and agreements are going to be essential.
It's mind-boggling to think that, just a few years ago, we were amazed by SpaceX landing rockets on barges. Now we're talking about, like, the potential hazards of space debris falling on people's homes.
Right.
And, like, the need for international treaties to manage the risks of commercial space travel.
It's amazing how things have changed.
It really is, yeah.
It's a testament to how quickly this industry is evolving and how important it is for all of us to stay informed and engaged in these conversations.
Yeah, the decisions we make today are really going to shape the future of space exploration for generations to come.
For generations to come.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Like, why should you care about a rocket exploding halfway across the country?
Well, I think because it's not just about a single rocket or a single company.
Right.
It's about the future of our planet, our society, and our place in the universe.
Yeah.
These incidents are a wake-up call, I think.
They are.
Reminding us that space exploration, while incredibly inspiring, also comes with real risks and responsibilities.
We've talked about these incidents as a potential turning point.
We have.
So what do you think needs to happen next? What's the most important takeaway for our listener?
I think we need to start asking ourselves some really tough questions. Like, what are the limits of acceptable risk? Who benefits from space exploration and who bears the costs? How do we ensure that this incredible human endeavor unfolds in a way that is both ambitious and responsible?
I think those are fantastic questions.
Yeah.
And I think those are like the perfect questions for our listener to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive into the Starship Flight 8 explosion.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating journey exploring the technical, ethical, and global implications of this event.
It really has.
And hopefully it sparked your curiosity to learn more about the complexities of space exploration in the 21st century.
I hope so, too.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
And I think it's clear that the conversation about commercial space travel is just beginning.
It is.
As this industry continues to grow and evolve, we need to stay informed, engaged, and ready to ask those tough questions.
Absolutely, because the future of space exploration,
Yeah.
and perhaps even the future of humanity itself, really depends on the choices that we make today.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Starship Flight 8 explosion.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep looking up.
Keep looking up.
Keep asking questions.
Asking questions.
And keep exploring the wonders of the universe.
Absolutely.